Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing an 18-7 climb in the Color Cup featuring, of all things, a Magmar. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, appropriately named MagmarMan26, so many thanks for the battle submission. Magmar is a pure Fire-type Pokemon with the moveset of Karate Chop, Fire Punch, and Scorching Sands. While it may not be the most meta Pokemon in the cup, Magmar Man is able to put the Magmar to great use as he absolutely slices through the competition. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and he's off to the dream start in the first match. Abomasnow into Gastrodon, opponent safe switches into Starmie. Starmie's energy could be deadly, he switches. Did he catch the power gem? Oh my goodness, and he did! Starmie's energy could have been so problematic, but Magmar Man taking the wind out of his opponent's sails immediately with a devastating catch. Starmie just gonna let itself get KO'd. This is gonna set up a massive farm for Gastrodon. Gastrodon pretty comfortably gonna be able to absorb multiple mud bombs here, but honestly, this is okay. You know that you're gonna have a wall to the earth power when the Abomasnow re-enters the field of play, and that forces them to go for Body Slam, which is way less damaging. Unfortunately, the Abomasnow does lag by a turn after it gets brought onto the field, so it does not get the Powder Snow that it should have gotten there. Abomasnow goes for the Icy Wind, Gastrodon will commit the shield in the back, is Toxapex, and now the star of the show, Magmar hits the field. Karate Chop, Fire Punch, Scorching Sands is honestly an extremely cool moveset. Scorching Sands absolutely rocks that Toxapex. Toxapex going to farm up quite a bit of energy and go for the brine. Already at another Scorching Sands, choosing to go for a massive overfarm here as Toxapex will grab the final shield. Farming up to the back-to-back moves. Now this will be able to pick up the knockout. The opponent's switch clock should be up soon. They're just going to let it go. They're just going to try and sweep with Gastrodon. Gastrodon hits the field of play, immediately met with the Scorching Sands, but there's the switch to Abomasnow. Body Slam will hit for neutral damage, but it's just not enough. Abomasnow able to hang on, make it to the Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to knock out that Gastrodon and secure a Game 1 win. Hopping into the second match, Abomasnow versus Shadow Quagsire. My goodness, Abomasnow picking up some very nice leads. There's a Talonflame save switch answered with Unova Stunfisk. And this opponent just has to be absolutely in shambles right now. You cannot ask for a much worse start to a game than this. Stunfisk tanks whatever the Talonflame throws. Talonflame goes for the fly, hoping they can make it to a Brave Bird as well, but they do get farmed down by Thundershock. Back in comes the Quagsire. Much like the previous game with the Gastrodon, the Mud Boy very happy to tank these Mud Bombs, but I don't believe the opponent can actually Mud Shot down here. They're going to need to throw because the Stunfisk would actually make it to a third move and threaten a shield or KO. So they're forced to throw a move, and that's really not great for the opponent. In comes Abomasnow. Abomasnow just choosing to let this go, saving 2 shields for the Magmar. Stone Edge, huge damage. In comes the Magmar, and that's met with Shadow Typhlosion. Typhlosion going for a Thunder Punch right away. Thunder Punch will be shielded as Magmar, thanks to Karate Chop's lightning fast pacing, is already pretty close to 2 moves. The Fire Punch bait is going to be shielded. Magmar going for a second bait, getting a little bit risky here, but Typhlosions do love to shield. And it pays off. Typhlosion with the double shield. Magmar, I believe, only 2 Karate Chops away from the Scorching Sands. It's going to be close. Opponent is going to wait a little bit. They thought about going for the catch, but they decide against it. They go for the fast move. Fire Punch picks up the KO. Quagsire gets Karate Chop down, and that game ends in victory. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Abomasnow into Toxapex. We see a safe switch to Magmar. Magmar is going to be answered with the Shadow Quagsire. This cup definitely has a lot of polarizing matchups. Scorching Sands is going to land, gets an attack drop as well. Can Magmar potentially double shield and farm down here? It would be ambitious, but it feels possible. It's going to be a CMP time. Magmar able to fire off the Fire Punch first, grab a shield from the opponent. Will he commit to switch? No. Instead, he's going to go for a pretty healthy farm on Abomasnow. In comes the Abomasnow. Abomasnow is going to get a farm down, exiting with quite a lot of energy. Toxapex answered with Stunfisk. In the back is an Astonish-Amoonguss, and that is not what you're hoping to see. The good news is even though it's a grass type, it's a grass poison, so Mud Bomb will hit for neutral damage. And Amoonguss, not the fastest pacing Pokemon ever, whereas Stunfisk has incredibly quick pacing. Stunfisk farming up a ton of energy, going to commit the shield as Amoonguss will fire off the first charge attack of the battle, and it will be the Grass Knot. Amoonguss very close to 2 more Mud Bombs. It looks like the next Mud Bomb will come close to knocking out. He gets the snipe with the Abomasnow. And now he's going for the Icy Wind, understanding this is their final Pokemon. They have no way of undoing this debuff for the remainder of the game. Now that the attack has been debuffed, can Abomasnow hang on here? Sludge Wave connects, and the Abomasnow tanks it with a fraction of HP, making it to the Icy Wind. Opponent still not going to shield, but this Toxapex, I just don't think it's going to be able to take this win. They're too debuffed, even though Brine will hit for super effective damage. Discharge lands. Magmar Man will be able to tank the move. The Thundershock went through. That Thundershock will be able to secure the win. So, despite a very bad lead, still able to get the victory. The good leads return in the next match, Abomasnow versus Morpeko. Morpeko staying in this matchup. Morpeko, a resisted Aura Wheel will do a lot of damage, but it is survivable. They go for the resisted Aura Wheel. That is going to be no shielded. We're going to see an overfarm by the Abomasnow, and Abomasnow is now going to fire off this Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to be shielded. Now, Dark-type Aura Wheel, definitely something that is worth shielding. So we will see the first shield of the match put up by the Abomasnow. Abomasnow always looking to overfarm, firing off the Icy Wind right before the opponent can get to a potential Psychic Fangs. The Icy Wind is going to connect, and now do you choose to just let the Abomasnow go? No, we see a double shield. The opponent did go for the Psychic Fangs. Abomasnow farming up, and we're actually going to see a banking of the move and a nice catch, catching the Psychic Fangs onto Magmar. What do they have for Magmar? They send out Credilli. Credilli will be taking some pretty significant damage from Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is going to connect. Credilli now well into the yellow health. Credilli will be able to fire off the Rock Slide. Even if it didn't KO already, that Rock Slide is being fired at an opponent that has a -1 defense stat, so it's definitely going to KO. In comes the Abomasnow. Abomasnow is able to pick up the knockout with the Icy Wind. Abomasnow does still have a little bit of residual energy available. It's Jumpluff in the back. And oh my goodness, landing this move is massive. The Icy Wind connects. There's the switch to Unova Stunfisk. And unfortunately for the opponent, there's just not a way to win this game. The Jumpluff is too low, and they're just going to concede the match before the Mud Bomb can even land. A familiar lead awaits in the next match. Abomasnow into Gastrodon. Opponent safe switches into a Shadow Tentacruel. That is an incredibly cool pick. And out comes Unova Stunfisk. Stunfisk going to fire off the Discharge. Discharge does do slightly more damage than a Mud Bomb, so it could potentially set up a farm down for Magmar Man. Magmar Man with the no shield on the skull. That does some serious damage, but he will just barely get that farm down. Opponent will be sending back in the Gastrodon. I think a Mud Slap will probably KO from here. He's still going to go for 1 in the move. So we'll have to see. Did Stunfisk hang on? It did on 1 HP, but it can't get to Mud Bomb number 2. Back in comes the Abomasnow. It's Skeledirge in the back. And that's not what you're hoping to see as Magmar hits the field of play. Magmar, of course, can hit for super effective damage with a Scorching Sands. They're actually on Crunch. So an interesting moveset there on the Skeledirge. He's going for the Fire Punch bait, able to grab a shield, and now he's looking to full send the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands will inflict massive super effective damage. The double shield from the opponent. Opponent now, they're in trouble because the Magmar is only 2 away from the Scorching Sands. They go for Disarming Voice. They send in the Gastrodon, but that's going to be game over. Magmar Man successfully banked the Scorching, and Magmar is going to win the CMP tie over Skeledirge. So the opponent is going to land a Body Slam onto Abomasnow, but now Abomasnow gets to pick up the knockout with the Energy Ball. Back in comes Skeledirge. Skeledirge immediately met with the Icy Wind. This Icy Wind not going to have any bearing on the game whatsoever. But what is going to matter is the CMP tie. Magmar with the higher attack, getting to the Scorching Sands, knocking out Skeledirge, and securing the victory. Hopping into the next game, Abomasnow versus Shadow Abomasnow. The Shadow Abomasnows don't typically run Icy Wind. It's typically going to be Weather Ball, and we see they do have Weather Ball as they throw on 5. The no shield by Magmar Man. He knows he can tank any one move. Considering there's a Stunfisk in the back, you do have to be careful throughout the course of this matchup to keep the Stunfisk away from their Abama. Their Abomasnow, we're going to see an aggressive switch into the Magmar. Opponent does actually end up taking quite a bit of damage on their Abomasnow before they switch out into Quagsire. Quagsire does get debuffed by the Scorching Sands. I do not trust Magmar to tank a move here. Opponent will go for the Mud Bomb. Magmar, oh, it actually did tank it. I am surprised. Magmar holding on for dear life. The Fire Punch is no shielded as the opponent did a very good job of counting there. But this is going to be a difficult game. In comes Abomasnow. Abomasnow, unfortunately, getting one turn bring in there, forced to commit a shield. It's a Sludge Bomb Quag. In the back is going to be a Alolan Marowak. And Alolan Marowak will be spamming out these Bone Clubs. Bone Club is actually adding up, and the fact that Marowak is up a shield and up energy means that it'll actually be able to do something here. Normally, Marowak going to struggle quite a bit, but in this particular advantage situation, it looks like it's going to be a bit too much for Magmar Man to deal with. The opponent double shielding 2 Mud Bombs. Oh my goodness, the Stunfisk would love to get to a third. It's going to be close, but there's the combo play. The switch-in snipe from the opponent. Weather Ball KOs. There's just no longer a win con, and the opponent is able to play their way out of a difficult matchup, and Magmar Man gets a 4-1 set. We move to the next match, Abomasnow versus Kingdra. If you're running Kingdra in this cup, it absolutely has to be Shadow. Shadow Kingdra can actually win the 2-shield versus Abomasnow. The regular cannot, so it's a very important distinction. Shadow Kingdra can also win the 2-shield versus something like Toxapex. So the opponent going to be no shield in the Icy Wind. Magmar Man respects the outrage and gets the shield call right. That is a massive call. Kingdra having that much energy shielded means that Abomasnow is actually able to double up on Icy Winds. Kingdra just going to let it go, and in comes Toxapex. Toxapex going to be met with an energy ball for the road, and then it's Stunfisk time. And Stunfisk, we know, does so well here, but in the back is Starmie. And this is actually going to be difficult because the Magmar doesn't really have a lot of places to run. Discharge is going to be shielded. Surf will do a ton of damage onto every remaining Pokemon. The Surf is going to be shielded, and we're going to see a Mud Bomb bait, but even if this is shielded, this is honestly looking dire. The Mud Bomb is shielded. There's a switch into the Magmar, just fully sacrificing the Magmar to try and win this game. Surf is a one-hit knockout. Back in comes Stunfisk. Stunfisk going for the Mud Bomb. Is this going to be enough damage to KO Starmie? Not the tankiest mon around. It does get KO'd. Back in comes the Toxapex. Toxapex does have energy. Will Stunfisk be able to pull off the sweep in the endgame? Mud Bomb lands. It's a CMP tie. Can Stunfisk outpace? Brine will get the Stunfisk low. Stunfisk needs to get there and does. So by fully sacrificing the Magmar, Magmar Man is able to somehow pull victory out of the jaws of defeat. We've got a mirror match in the next game, Abomasnow versus Abomasnow, but once again the opponent is actually running the Shadow. The Shadow Abomasnow does actually win the CMP tie here. Fun fact, being Shadow doesn't impact the charge attack priority time mechanic. It again is just going to go down to the attack stat. Icy Winds are being traded. We now see a safe switch into the Magmar. Opponent responds with a Sea King. Oh my goodness, what is this doing here? Sea King committing the shield on the Scorching Sands. The opponent does get debuffed. Magmar, does he try and call a bait? And he does. He calls the Icy Wind, a savage call from Magmar Man. And now the opponent really regretting that choice to bait. Scorching Sands is going to land. He's able to make a Fire Punch. This is a debuffed and resisted Fire Punch. Sea King still going to commit the shield, and he's able to get 2 shields out of this matchup. The opponent is debuffed. In comes Stunfisk because he needs to keep his Abomasnow alive to deal with the opponent's Abomasnow. Sea King will go for the drill run. Stunfisk does get the farm down, exiting with a move. This move is going to do neutral damage onto Credilli, but man, this is going to be a tough game to win. Abomasnow is going to need to put in massive work in this endgame. Abomasnow will commit the shield as the opponent will go for the Icy Wind. Now debuffed. Is a farm down still possible? He's not going to risk it. He's going to fire off his own Icy Wind. This will KO the opponent. In comes Credilli. Credilli just has such little fast move pressure here, and the damage is about to be reduced with an Icy Wind. The Icy Wind lands, and this game will actually end in victory. He can let this go and actually Thundershock down a grass type with Unova Stunfisk. In comes the Stunfisk, and that's a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading Abomasnow into Ferrothorn. Obviously, a way better answer in the back, but also a way worse matchup in the back as well. Abomasnow striking first with the Icy Wind. Ferrothorn's Flash Cannon, it is survivable for Abomasnow, but not by much, even after a debuff. Ferrothorn farms all the way up to 100 energy. They are fully capped. We see a shield and a Power Whip bait from the opponent. That is very unfortunate. Another Icy Wind fired off by the Abomasnow. Opponent choosing to let that go. They bank energy and they send in Kingdra. But Kingdra's getting Icy Wind debuff too. This Abomasnow is putting in so much damage. And now we see a switch out into Unova Stunfisk. Octazooka, not going to hit very hard whatsoever, but it's the threat of the 2-stage attack drop, and the opponent does get it. This means Stunfisk, which already doesn't hit hard, is going to be doing pitiful damage in this mid-game. Another discharge is reached, but again, Kingdra just does not care about this damage once its attack has been debuffed by -2. Kingdra is going to switch out at the last second. In comes Ferrothorn to snipe with the loaded Power Whip. Down goes Stunfisk. Is it time? Magmar. It is. Magmar going to get the Karate Chop farm down, gets a nice energy advantage. In comes Kingdra, and Kingdra is able to make an Octazooka. Magmar with an O-Shield. Octazooka does massive damage and gets the debuff. Magmar, very low health, does exit with energy. In the back is Credilli, firing off the -2 Scorching Sands. Oh my goodness, that does absolutely nothing. Abomasnow gets to the Icy Wind, and this Icy Wind should mean that the Rock Slide from Credilli is not enough to KO. If the opponent's running Stone Edge, fair play to them, that's going to be lethal, but a Rock Slide will not cut it. Abomasnow able to get to Icy Wind number 2, and this final game will end in victory as down goes Credilli. All in all, these are some very fun battles, so thank you so much for Magmar Man for sending them in. It goes without saying, if your in-game username is Magmar Man, you're probably going to be a huge fan of Magmar, so I'm happy to see that he was able to make it work. Would I recommend Magmar as a top ELO climbing strategy? I still think the answer would probably be no. Magmar does offer unique coverage, and the fact that it does have some pretty nice pacing does help it quite a bit, but purely based on how frail it is, I still think that holds it back from true meta contention in the Color Cup, even though with some good teammates like Magmar Man had, it can see some nice results. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, consider supporting the channel. You can do that by leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel if you haven't. Another way to support is, of course, becoming a channel member like the wonderful people listed on screen here. The support you guys provide to the channel is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.